The day one graduated from high school, I accidentally overheard the school beauty saying she didn't like good students. The love letter in my hand never made it to her as I lacked the courage to give it. I changed one sentence in it and placed it in her drawer. Then I boarded a plane to go abroad. For years later, when I returned to my home country, at a class reunion, I saw the woman I had been thinking about constantly, Shin Juxi. At this moment, everyone was playing Truth or Dare. When the bottle pointed at Shin Juxi, she chose Truth. The boy across from her asked, "Shen, do you have someone you like?" I tilted my head slightly. Before I could even react, I heard her say, "Yes," but it felt like falling into an ice window. Gu Xian's smile immediately froze. Number. When did you start liking someone? Shen Juxin lifted her eyes and smiled lazily. That's another quest to you. No one had expected this answer. People who weren't paying attention suddenly perked up. Quickly, Spee! Let's find out who Miss Shen likes today. We have to get it out of her. Unfortunately, after several rounds of spinning, it never landed on Shen Juxi. My mind buzzed. I wasn't part of it. But my heart ached with a sour feeling. She is someone she likes. I saw the sparkle in her eyes when she mentioned that. I helplessly shook my head. That boy must be very outstanding. Excited voices came from around me. Someone poked my arm. Gu Xian wore a smile full of excitement. Fang, it's your tour. The bottle spun in an unimaginable way. The mouth of the bottle pointed at Shen Juxi. The tail of the bottle pointed at me. Fang, you should quickly ask Shen Juxin who she likes. Satisfy our curiosity. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep tonight. The chatter around me grew louder. It was quite a commotion. I knew what they wanted to hear, but I didn't want to hear it. I turned my head and happened to meet Shen Juxin's smiling eyes in my heart. I asked, "Are you two together?" The crowd felt it was a pity, but also thought it was a good question. No one spoke. Everyone quietly waited for Shen Juxin to answer. Number. She looked at me, her eyes flashing with emotions I couldn't understand. Crush. But she hasn't confessed. Someone asked, "Aren't you going to confess?" Shen Juxin laughed. I plan to. She just returned to the country a couple of days ago. And tonight, she's going to confess. I couldn't take it anymore. I found an excuse and hurried to the bathroom. The bitterness inside me was so overwhelming. I didn't even have the strength to smile. I had imagined this day would come. But when the day actually arrived, I realized I couldn't accept it. I turned on the faucet and splashed water desperately onto my face. Looking at the disheveled version of myself in the mirror, I told myself that I should let it go. After leaving the bathroom, I sent Gu Xian a message saying I was leaving. No need to wait for me. But just a few steps later, I saw her leaning against a pillar not far away. She was touching up her makeup, maybe preparing for the confession later. I collected my thoughts and brushed past her. Fang Yue. Shen Juxin's voice clearly reached my ears. My heart beat a little faster, embarrassingly. What's wrong? I pretended nothing was wrong. Are you waiting for me to say some words of blessing? I forced myself to say the insincere words. I hope your wishes come true. Come true. Shen Juxin's eyelashes fluttered slightly. She gently shook her head. This isn't on me. It's on him. I paused for a moment. You're so wonderful. He will agree. Really? She smiled. I couldn't tell what she was smiling about. If there's nothing else, I'll leave now. I didn't want to see her confessing to someone. I hurriedly walked toward the exit. Shen Juxin helplessly reached out and grabbed my hand. Fang Yuan, can you let me finish? I froze, looking at Shen Juxin, who was now closer. For a moment, I couldn't react. Go ahead. Shen Juxin leaned slightly toward me. That unsigned blue love letter. Aren't you going to tell me about it? I felt like a startled rabbit. How did you know? You think I wouldn't recognize your handwriting? My mind was still in a daze. My face was confused. I paid special attention to your handwriting. Why have you been avoiding me? I looked at her, full of confusion. She gently tapped my forehead. I thought I made myself quite clear. I've had a crush for a long time. It's you! The sound exploded in my mind. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Shen Juxin's body leaned a little closer to mine. Her voice, with its usual lazy tone. I like you. Give me a chance, please. Then, as if remembering something. Do you have a girlfriend? I silently shook my head. Number. Shen Juxin's eyes suddenly brightened. They sparkled with a radiant glow, and I couldn't help but get lost in them. Then I still have a chance. Can I chase you? I honestly don't remember how I got back. My mind was a complete mess. I threw myself onto the bed when I got to the room. Shen Juxin likes me. This was something I hadn't expected. The corners of my lips couldn't help but rise. The person I like confessed to me. A long time passed. When I looked at my phone, I realized Gu Xian had sent me several messages. Fang, what a pity. I thought Shen Juxin liked you. I jumped in shock. One kept reading. You don't know. Last night, I paid special attention. I noticed her gaze was always on you. The look in her eyes was so gentle, it felt like it could drip with water. It was the first time I saw her show that kind of expressio. When we were talking about the person we liked in the game, she looked straight at you at that moment. I paused. I didn't know how to respond. After thinking for a moment, I gave a vague reply. Really? After sending that, I sat on the bed in a daze. The next day, Shen Juxin invited me to dinner. Because I was shy, I asked my brother, Gu Xian, to join at the high-end restaurant. The three of us met up quickly. Every time I see Shen Juxin now, I think about what happened yesterday. I sometimes avoid looking at her. Gu Xian, without hesitation, ordered from the menu and couldn't resist saying, Shen Juxin, you really are a rich tycoon. We won't be polite. Shen Juxin looked at me, smiling as she spoke. No need to be polite. Her intense gaze made me feel a little shy. Although she said not to be polite, she didn't order much. After all, there were only three of us. We wouldn't be able to finish it all, and it would be a waste. No one at the table spoke. The meal was quite harmonious. After dinner, Gu Xian was bombarded with calls. He looked guilty answering the calls. Fang Yue, I have to leave first. Shen Juxin took the chance to say, you can leave first. I'll drive Fang Yuan back later. When Gu Xian's figure disappeared from view, I realized the current situation. Then I'll just go back myself. That's not going to happen. Shen Juxin bent down, her eyes filled with a smile. Fang Yuan, I'm chasing you. Don't you even want to give me the chance to show it? Her eyes flickered. Her voice carried a hint of grievance. I still couldn't refuse her request. When I got into the car, I finally snapped back to reality. A cold fragrance swept over me, and there was a faint sweetness. I blinked. The woman's face in my pupils kept enlarging. It seemed as though she was about to hug me. What are you doing? Put on your seatbelt. A dark gleam flashed in Shen Juxin's eyes. After fastening it, she shifted in her seat. What did you think I was doing? I didn't think anything. My tongue got tied. I hurriedly changed the topic. Just drop me off at Hepping Street. Okay. Shen Juxin didn't continue teasing me. After all, such things take time. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a few candies, handing them to me. Have a candy. Thank you. I bent my eyes and reached to take the candy from her palm. Shen Juxin subtly rubbed the candy with her finger. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw myself peel the candy wrapper and pop the orange-flavored candy into my mouth. Shen Juxin glanced at me. One day will be as sweet as this candy, then silently withdrew her gaze. On the road, I secretly glanced at her several times, but didn't speak. Just a quick glance and then I turned away. Shin Juxin noticed my gaze and smiled. "Why are you looking at me like that, Xiaoyuan?" I hesitated. Her words made me dizzy. "I'm not doing anything," I said dryly. Shin Juxin's smile deepened. "Shin Juxi, when did you start liking me? It doesn't seem like we had much contact in high school." I remember I started paying attention to her in the second semester of sophomore year. In sophomore year, we weren't in the same class. Our classrooms were on different floors. Unless you tried, you wouldn't see her. Sometimes in the classroom, Shen Juxin's face had a slightly pale tone. At that time, she didn't wear a school uniform. Occasionally, the homeroom teacher would come over and scold her, saying she wasn't focused, and that she should wear her school uniform to avoid bad influences. She didn't list. Instead, she wore her uniform under the desk and used it as a pillow to sleep. It wasn't every time that I saw Shen Juxi. She rarely attended classes. When the school gate closed during class, she'd climb over the wall. First, a white and blue school jacket would fall to the ground. Then I'd see her pale arms, full of tension, supporting herself on the wall. Her white uniform blowing in the wind, puffed up. She landed on the ground, her arms as she casually flicked her hair back and patted the dirt off her palms. Her lips always curled into a smile, carrying an unshakable pride. At that time, I could only think of one word, full of vigor. She walked forward, greeted by the blazing sun overhead. The scenery was limitless. Her scorching gaze moved. When it landed on me, she grabbed her homework and raw. My heart raced like a deer. It beat so fast, mixed with a sense of pie. I noticed there seemed to be a lot of dirt on her clothes. Had she been fighting again? Why can't she just be good? Not taking care of her body. There were always wounds on her. Because of this, I, who was normally lazy and had no athletic ability, woke up early for the first time when it was still dark. I went to climb a temple, one step after another, praying for her safety, because the first incense is the most powerful. In high school, classes were assigned based on grades. Her grades were good. She was in the top class. As for me, my grades were average. Not too good, but not bad either. To be closer to her. During that time, I studied desperately. It was tough. I don't even know how I managed to keep going. In the toughest moments, thinking of her gave me the motivation. I wondered if I had enough ability to match hers. Would my wish have a chance of coming true? While pursuing her, I also became a better version of myself, because the old me wouldn't have been able to get into that university abroad. Later, when I saw her, I didn't need to come up with excuses anymore. The second half of senior year went smoothly. Whenever I raised my head, I could see her. At that time, I secretly felt happy, thinking we were destined. Do you think every time we meet, it's just by chance? Shen Juxin raised an eyebrow. Do you think I'm this nice to everyone? That I have so much patience? Of course not. I think a lot of times it's been intentional. Then I suddenly felt something was off. Sometimes things went too smoothly. But you've never told me any of this. Shen Juxin held the steering wheel with one hand, her other hand resting casually. I can't just hold on to you and date someone like me, a bad student. I blinked. A bad student? Shen Juxin laughed, unconcerned. She certainly couldn't be considered a good student in high school. Others wore their school uniforms and obediently studied. But Shen Juxin was different. She had good grades. She was beautiful. But her personality wasn't great. She would drink, skip classes, and fight. She did everything that people wouldn't expect a good student to do. She did it all. But her excellent grades were what kept her at the top. She must have been called to her parents' office countless times by now, and reflected on her actions many times. You're not a bad student, I said softly. Others might not know. But I know that when she fought, it wasn't for herself. It was for those who were hurt. I, too, started paying attention to her because of this. Shen Juxin smiled but said nothing. I murmured. Even if I had said something back then, I might not have rejected her. My voice was soft, almost like a whisper. Shen Juxin heard me. But that's very irresponsible. She's a rebel. But she wouldn't deceive anyone's feelings. The naive bond we once had. No one knew how long it would last. And no one knew if it was even real love. Maybe it was just a fleeting whim. She didn't want to start in such a careless way, only for it to end carelessly. She wanted it to last forever. So, you don't like good students? I asked. Shen Juxin paused. After I graduated from high school, I saw someone confess to you. You rejected them, saying you didn't like good students. But it's not that simple. She paused for a moment, then continued, I do have a type. I only like you. In high school. That was when feelings first blossomed. Whether it was a boy or a girl, everyone had their own type. Someone asked her once. She didn't answer. To her, she'd seen all kinds of people over the years. Many had confessed to her. But she didn't like a single one. When she saw me, at first she just thought I was interesting. Later, her gaze would unconsciously fall on me. Wherever I was, she would shift slightly so that I could see her. At that moment, she had found her type, someone like me. But that's not right. It's more like no one but me will do. She had thought about confessing, but so many people around her were already in relationships, at most within 6 months. She saw people who had been showing off their love just the day before, saying sweet words to each other. And the very next day, they'd part ways. With cold stares when they met. Some cried, unable to move on. Others happily moved on to someone new. It all seemed so normal. Everyone tacitly believed that teenage love had no ending. It was just an impulse. Once the novelty wore off, it ended. She didn't want that. So she gave herself time to understand her own heart. Once she began, it would be for life. And there's another reason. It felt like someone like me, a good student, shouldn't be doing anything against my principles because of him. Who would have known after graduating from high school, I went abroad? I felt lost, but also happy for myself. I was supposed to have a bright future. I shouldn't have let someone hold me back. I lowered my head. My heart raced like a deer, out of control. At that moment, I wanted to argue. Liking someone is just liking them. Shen Juxi. The car stopped. Shen Juxin tilted her head, her voice carrying a unique tenderness just for me. What's wrong? I looked at her seriously. Let's give it a try. Shen Juxin froze. She never expected me to say that. You don't want to? I pressed O. Shen Juxin reached out and pulled me into her arms. In a low voice, she spoke. Aren't you going to regret it? Agreeing to me so early. No, even if we can't make it to the end. I'll accept it. Shen Juxin smiled. She rested her chin against my neck. Fang Yuan, what I mean is, you won't regret agreeing to me this early, right? I didn't understand. Did you really confess to me? Saying you want to pursue me. You're in this for a lifetime? Her eyes were so bright. They sparkled like stars. We're going to get married in the future. My heart raced wildly, pounding again and again in my chest, the sound vibrating in my ears. I felt her body heat. It was warm. When Shen Juxin said those words yesterday, my heart already knew the answer. And I followed my heart. Shen Juxin's lips couldn't stop curving up. Boyfriend, I won't let you down. I blinked. Smiling, I said, well, we'll see how you perform. Less than an hour after getting out of the car, Shen Juxin took my phone and added all my social media accounts. She claimed it was for easy access to check on her. Shen Juxin didn't stay with me long. She was called back to the company. The phone call wasn't ended. She seemed to be surrounded by a low-pressure aura. I couldn't help but laugh. Alright. Tomorrow is fine too. Go ahead and get busy. We're adults now. We're not like kids saying one thing and doing another. We've become rational. And we understand what's precious. Shen Juxin pulled down her eyelids. Not too happy. I'll come find you tomorrow. I nodded. Alright. Shen Juxin kept looking back, reluctantly driving away, until her figure disappeared. Only then did I collapse on the couch. I feel like our relationship is moving a bit too fast. I slapped my cheek. Forget it. Let's take it one step at a time. Shen Juxin's assistant carefully looked at the woman across from him. The woman had a serious expression. Her whole body exuded a cold aura. It made him tremble a little. She said, "Why does this matter need me to come back and handle it?" Shen Juxin leaned back in the boss's chair. Her voice casual. If you listen closely, you could clearly feel her irritation. Who would be happy in this situation, huh? We've just confirmed our relationship. We haven't even switched to a different identity to talk. And now there's something that requires me to leave. That's just how it is. The assistant swallowed nervously. The Song family from overseas has returned. They'll be attending the auction event in a couple of days. Shen Juxin pressed her hand against her brow. Lifting her eyelids, she glanced at him. There's a list for the auction event, right? Yes. The assistant handed her the prepared documents. Here's the list for the auction event and some related items. Also, you might want to keep an eye on the Song family. Aren't they attending as well? Shen Juxin flipped through the documents. Let's not rush. What's on the agenda for tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow morning we need to sign a contract. In the afternoon, there's a cocktail party. Shen Juxin furrowed her brows. Why are so many things being pushed back? The assistant asked, should we push everything back? What else can we do? The assistant was silent for a moment, but Madame said you don't have anything too important. So it can't be delayed. Your mother is on a trip. And you still have to worry about this? Why don't you let your father come back? If he asks, just tell him. I'm on a date with my future daughter-in-law. The assistant dutifully nodded. Wait! The assistant suddenly widened his eyes. Did he just hear that right? Or was there something wrong with his eyes? The person in front of him was Shen Juxin, the eldest daughter of the Shen family. That's right, a date. His future daughter-in-law. Miss Shen is in love too? There's still something else. Shen Juxin glanced up at him. Oh, never mind. The assistant took a step, ready to leave, then remembered something. Shen Juxi, I heard from an inside source that the Song family is looking for them this time. The hidden child of the Shen family. Shen Juxin didn't seem to care. She lowered her head and sent a message. She casually responded. I glanced at the sky and took a taxi to Yongsan Group. Yongsan Group was founded from scratch by my father. When my mother met my father, he was still at a low point in his life. My mother was the one who stayed with him through it all. It's a pity that with success in his career, he now has a happy family. But a car accident took my mother's life. All these years, my father never remarried. On one hand, he couldn't let go of my mother. That space in his heart had already been filled by her. On the other hand, because my brother Feng Ren and I were enough for him, he always said, just having you two is enough. Adding another would just complicate things. Young master, the secretary had received the news in advance. The first floor is here to pick me up. I nodded. Where's my dad? The chairman is in his office. The secretary made a gesture, signaling me to follow. This way, please. As soon as we reached the top floor, someone called the secretary. It seemed like there was something. No problem, go ahead. I know the way. The secretary thought for a moment, then nodded, young master, I'll go first. Passing by the break room, I heard a few girls talking. I think this project is on the edge. Why do you say that? I heard that the Shen family is participating this time. Not only that, didn't they say the overseas Song family would join? I heard rumors they're competing too. Well, this is a long story. The overseas Song family's strength is just as strong as the Shen family's. As for the reason they're back, I heard they're looking for their grandson. I didn't pay much attention to it. I quickened my pace. I knocked on the door and entered. I heard the assistant reporting work. He was accurately covering the project in Shigua. I became lost in thought. I didn't even notice the assistant leaving. Difang, why do you look so troubled? Did something happen to upset you? Tell Dad. I'll take care of it. My father saw that I was distracted. He asked worriedly, "It's nothing." I shook my head. Dad, are we competing for a project in Shiguan? Yes. My father's tone was firm. I must get that land. Why? It was the first time I saw my father like this. My father smiled and explained. Actually, Shiguan was originally Bishui-Bay. But at that time, the area was still underdeveloped. It wasn't long before it was demolished. Bishui-Bay, I muttered. That name sounds familiar. Bishui-Bay is where your mother and I got married. Back then, to save money, your mother insisted on not having a big wedding, saying there would be other opportunities later. Zifang, even though the place is being redeveloped, my plan is to buy it. It's to make up for a regret, not having a proper wedding for your mother. That's been my biggest regret. Dad, I support you, I said thoughtfully. Can I take a look at the project plan for this one? Of course. My father found it and handed it to me. Don't just talk about the project plot as long as you want it. The company is yours. I pointed out a few areas. Here, there's an obvious data gap. And here, the idea is good. But it's not complete enough. Zifang, it's such a shame you don't come to the company. How about this? Zifang, you should come with me to the competition this time. I didn't think much and immediately agreed. I also want to see what your mom's life was like. The next day, I went to work at my own clothing store. Most of the orders were online. There weren't many people in the store. I lowered my head, handling the fabric. I didn't look up for a while. When I finished the last bit of stitching, the white petals etched into my eyes, and a faint floral scent filled the air. I shifted my gaze slightly and saw Shen Juxin holding flowers. For a moment, it felt like I saw her at 70. I bought these for you. Do you like them? My heart skipped a beat. I held the flowers in my arms. I really like them, thank you. That's good. I picked them for a long time. Do you know what kind of flower this is? Shen Juxin said. Her gaze was focused on my face. These are snapdragons. Yeah. She smiled slightly again and asked, "Do you know the flower's meaning?" I blinked and shook my head. I've never really paid attention. Unchanging, sincere love. I bit my lip. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. Again and a guy. Shen Juxin raised an eyebrow, pouting. So indifferent? No, I sniffed. The smile on my lips never faded. I really like it. I added. Not just the flower. Shen Juxin froze. She quickly realized and smiled. She was about to search for how to preserve snapdragons when the flowers were taken by a slender hand with distinct joints. I'll do it. Are you busy today? There are 2 more orders. I added. They're not urgent. Let's go then. Shen Juxin stood up and reached her hand out to me. Although I was puzzled, I had already reached for her hand, placing it in her palm. A date? Shen Juxin naturally held my hand. I obediently followed her. Once we were in the car, I asked, "Where are we going?" "Leave that to your cute, pretty girlfriend." Shen Juxin couldn't resist rubbing my head. I responded with an "Oh." I didn't say anything else. Shen Juxin took me to see a movie. It was a youthful, passionate drama. She said it was perfect for couples in love to watch. Shen Juxin glanced at me. Isn't that exactly us? When we arrived, the movie was just about to start. The screen suddenly went dark, then emitted a faint light. Shen Juxin turned her gaze, reaching out to hold my hand. After holding it, she asked, Is it okay? I blinked. Aren't you already holding it? She mischievously winked. Well, I just wanted to ask. Afraid you'd get mad. I looked down at our hands intertwined, smiling slightly. The movie soon began. Everything seemed normal at first. But as I kept watching, I felt something was off. The scene in the movie switched suddenly. The male and female leads were tightly in each other's arms, their lips slowly getting closer. I paused for a moment. It felt just like when the teacher showed us a movie in middle school. When the male and female leads kissed, it was that feeling of wanting to look but not wanting to look. My gaze. Just for a second, I immediately sat up straight, not daring to glance anywhere else. Since it was a movie popular with couples, there were a lot of couples in the theater. The movie started with a kiss. Now it felt like a catalyst. More couples were leaning into each other. My face was faintly flushing. I quietly closed my eyes. In the dim light, I met Shin Juksun's deep gaze. You're not watching the movie? Shin Juksun nodded honestly. It's not as good looking as you. I blushed. I didn't know how to respond to that. As I lowered my head, I didn't even notice. The dark glint in Shin Juksun's eyes. An arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me closer into her embrace. Shin Juksun leaned in slightly. Her soft lips brushed against my earlobe. Her voice had a clear hint of amusement. Why are your ears so hot, Fang Yuan? I never imagined that she would do that. My tongue tangled. I couldn't form a complete sentence. I know. Know what? For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. She asked, "Can I kiss you? Is anyone looking?" I murmured. Shin Juksun smiled. You think no one notices over here? She reached out and pulled me closer. The cool fragrance mixed with a faint orange scent. My lips felt a soft touch. All my other senses were magnified at this moment. I vaguely heard a soft, sensual sound. My head was spinning. I couldn't even think clearly. The kiss felt unusually long. When we parted, my face was so red I couldn't even react. Shin Juksun's eyes were bright, filled with excitement. She licked her soft lips. This gesture, coming from her, had a bit of an enchanting and wild feel. Both melancholic and sensual. After a moment's pause, she leaned in again and kissed my lips. This time, my face turned completely red. This kiss ended. And the movie ended as well. My lips were flushed and a little numb. I nervously watched as others began to leave the theater. Let's go quickly. Shin Juksun was satisfied, holding my hand as we left the cinema. In the next few days, every morning, Shin Juksun would send me a good morning. In the morning, she would come to find me with fresh flowers. When she couldn't come, there would be a delivery person bringing flowers. Each bouquet contained a pink card. The writing on it was bold and rebellious. It was obvious it was written by her. To my favorite little handsome guy. Every time, I would search online to check the flower meanings. And without exception, they always had a beautiful meaning. The auction event arrived. On that day, I walked into the venue with my father, greeting all kinds of people. This must be young Master Fang. Truly outstanding. My business partner raised his glass with a smile, unabashedly complimenting me. I wore a black suit today. I gave a professional smile. Thank you. I couldn't stand the atmosphere, and since the auction wouldn't start for a while, I found an excuse and went to the backyard. I heard a woman walking towards my spot. I frowned, stood up, and prepared to move to another place. Fang Yuan. The woman accurately called my name. She smiled sweetly at me. I was sure I didn't know this perso. Who are you? I'm Zhou Zheng, your mother's friend. I softly corrected her tone. You said my mother? Yes. Zhou Zheng smiled gently. Technically, you should call me sister. Can you tell me something about my mother? Zhou Zheng sat on the other side of the bench, her gaze fixed on the distance, her tone filled with nostalgia. Your mother. She was such a gentle person. She had so much patience. She always knew how to help others. Jo Jung couldn't help but laugh. I was college classmates with your mother. At that time, everyone was busy with their own lives. Nobody was willing to take the time to teach me. But your mother. She stayed up late to make notes for me. I couldn't help but smile imagining my own mother staying up late, writing notes by the lamp. Jo Jung glanced at the time. I have a little something to take care of. I won't keep you any longer. We'll see each other later. I smiled and waved goodbye. Goodbye, Sister Jo. The weather was a little chilly, so I stood up, ready to head back. Fang Yuan. Shen Juxin's voice had a hint of joy in it. What are you doing here too? Shen Juxin walked closer, her voice gentle. I'm representing the Shen family at the auction today. You're not waiting here for me on purpose, are you? I smiled. I wrapped my arms around her slim waist and pulled her closer. I placed her on the bench. I lowered my head, kneeling on one knee. I gently took her ankle in my hand and pulled it outward slightly. What are you doing? I said in a low voice, these high heels have been rubbing your heels raw. I freed one hand and pulled out a band-aid from my pocket. Shen Juxin, be good. Don't move. Why do you always carry this with you? Her voice was soft and gentle. It sounded so pleasant. I learned it online, she said, and gently put her high heels back on for her, then switched to the other foot. When I was finished, I stood up and sat next to Shen Juxi. Shen Juxin lowered her eyelids. She looked just like a little wife who had been wronged, her voice carrying a hint of grievance. Who was that person? You smiled at him. He's my mother's friend. Are you jealous? Jealous? How are you going to make it up to me? I didn't expect her to admit it so quickly. There was a brief moment of silence. I leaned in and kissed her cheek. Shen Juxin let out a charming laugh. That sent a shiver down my spine. Fang Yuan, you kissed me first. I shyly looked away. It's almost time. We should go. There were quite a few people at the auction. The seats were sparsely filled, but eventually all take. I calmly surveyed the room and noticed the people sitting in the spot meant for the Song family. One of them was Jo Jung. Beside Jo Jung was a woman. I couldn't see her face clearly, but the scene felt strangely familiar. The auction quickly began. The host, dressed in formal attire, walked to the center with a smile. The clear voice came through the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to tonight's auction. What are you looking at? Shen Juxin's voice reached my ears. A slight puff, her warm breath, brushed against my ear. It caused a moment of stillness. I didn't turn around. Just look for yourself. Shen Juxin followed my gaze. It was Jo Jung. She slightly furrowed her brows. What's he looking at? The person next to him. Is that someone from the Song family who came back from overseas? Seems like it. Shen Juxin paused to think. She hadn't finished speaking when Jo Jung moved slightly and turned to look back. When he saw me, he froze for a moment, then smiled at me. Jo Jung was about to look away, but unexpectedly met a pair of fiery, hostile eyes. Jo Jung didn't seem to care. He smiled at him. What are you looking at? A gentle-looking woman beside him looked at him, puzzled by his reaction. She was about to turn around to see what was going on. Jo Jung immediately stopped her. With a smile, he casually said, "It's nothing. I just saw a sweet couple. Being young is so nice." Is that so? The woman smiled. Now, we're about to start bidding for the Shiguan project. Jo Jung asked, puzzled. Why are you interested in bidding for it? I don't know. The woman shook her head. That place felt so familiar when I saw it a few days ago. I guess since you like it, you should just bid for it. Jo Jung lowered his head, hiding the depth in his eyes. When he raised his head again, his usual gentle demeanor returned. I feel the same. The woman said, it's over there. Shen Juxin lightly lifted her cheek. She watched the scene with a half smile, her lips curling slightly. She was about to continue speaking when someone interrupted her. I tilted my head and asked, the Shigwan land is starting to be auctioned. The starting bid is 10 million. My father's face turned red. His palm clenched into a fist. You want the Shigwan land? Shen Juxin stared at me without blinking. It's where my mother lived. Right, about my mother. Shen Juxin knew a little about it. When my mother passed away, I just felt regret. After all, we had endured so much. And then this happened. At the time, I didn't care too much. But later, she was filled with sorrow. Now, it's time. The bidding has already started. My father raised the paddle and called out. Everyone was in an uproar. Though the Shigwan project was good, not many people were willing to spend that much money on it. The location was somewhat remote. Even if the place was great, people were reluctant to invest that much. There was a high chance that they wouldn't see any returns for 100 million. Zhou Zheng raised his paddle. Her lazy, magnetic voice clearly echoed throughout the hall. A sudden silence fell around us, as if the entire room had gone dead quiet. 500 million. Her words were directly interrupted. Shen Juxin lazily leaned back in her chair. Her legs crossed. Her eyelids lazily fluttered up. The corners of her lips curled into a mischievous, bold smile. Zhou Zheng wanted to continue raising his paddle, but the woman beside him quickly pressed down on his hand. She shook her head at him. What are you doing? 500 million for a piece of land? I took a deep breath, pulling on his sleeve. Shen Juxin, you tell him. You're wrong. Shen Juxin smiled, curling her lips. Fang Yuan, what I'm spending 500 million on is not just land. I insisted that's not possible. Shen Juxin held my hand. I won't lose. My father also advised. Juxin, this land isn't worth that much. Let's forget about it. Shen Juxin replied meaningfully, I won't lose. Seeing this, my father didn't argue anymore. 500 million, 3 times. The final hammer fell. Congratulations, miss. You have won the Shigwan land for 500 million. Everyone around us clapped in unison, their eyes flashing with a hint of schadenfreude. Truly a fool's deal. I lost interest. I stood up and left without another word. Uncle Fang, Juxin must have something to discuss, the Shigwan land, I don't need it for now. I heard you had plans for it, Uncle. I thought I'd let you manage it. Uncle Fang furrowed his brows. He didn't immediately agree. 500 million for land, and he was momentarily puzzled like that. He couldn't figure out what this woman's intentions were if she didn't need it. Why spend 500 million on it? Uncle, think of it as an investment. Shen Juxin's tone was full of arrogance and confidence. I'm not without my own conditions. In the future, 35% of the profits from this land belong to me. Even if it was 50%, it would still be his guy. But this condition was one he couldn't refuse. So if there's no profit, won't Juxin end up at a loss? Shen Juxin sighed internally. Seems like both father and son are sharp. This is a bit troublesome. While Shen Juxin was thinking of Uncle Fang directly agreed to her request. But I won't let you lose, whether it's profitable or not. Every month, I'll give you 10 million as a deposit. Any less and it would raise suspicion. Juxin, you truly are young and capable. She thought far ahead. The matter was settled. The weight that had been on my father's mind was completely lifted. He should be happy, right? Shen Juxin smiled faintly in response. My dad just sent me a message. I'll head out first, she said, then turned and walked off to find me. After leaving the auction house, Shen Juxin looked around a few times, but didn't see the person she was looking for. She then took out her phone, making a call. The phone rang from a short distance away. She followed the sound of the ringtone. The line went dead. Shen Juxin. I waved at her. Shen Juxin walked over. Her voice had a touch of complaint. Why'd you hang up on me? I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I felt a little embarrassed and touched my nose. What's wrong? She asked, reaching out to rub my nose. You seem distracted. The figure from the auction earlier. It seemed so familiar. A voice in my head told me to check. And I'm sure it won't disappoint. Do you need my help? Can you? If Shen Juxin helped, things would certainly be easier. Of course, Shen Juxin's lips curled lazily. Fang Yuan, know your place. You're my boyfriend. I blinked. Then what? Will I get special privileges? With me? You'll always have special privileges. Shen Juxin, you must have learned this before. So good at it. When I found out you were coming back, I specifically learned it online. There's nothing to hide. You knew I was coming back? Shen Juxin paused, then spoke casually. Of course, I need to know the schedule of my significant other, realizing that was beyond my expectations. I didn't know how to respond. Shen Juxin suddenly changed the topic. Have you eaten? No, I haven't. Then let's eat together. After dinner, I'll take you home. When we got home, before leaving, Shen Juxin shamelessly leaned I. Fang Yuan, give me a goodnight kiss. As my hand gently touched her face, I heard a loud shout. Little rascal, take your hand off her. I jumped in surprise, but Shen Juxin wasn't flustered at all. She smiled with a hint of amusement. Say hi to uncle. Good evening, little rascal. Explain yourself properly. Go wait in the living room, Fang Yuan. We'll have a little talk. My father pulled me into the bedroom. Shen Juxin gave me a mischievous look. The door closed and my father's voice suddenly rang in my ears. Are you with Shen Juxin now? It was a question, but his tone was certain. I didn't hide it. I confidently admitted. Yes, I like her.